Morning, guys. Today we have a task ahead of us. We're going to be installing in our 2020 Tacoma 48 gears with ARB air lockers front and rear. It's going to turn this truck into a wheeling rig, man. Air lockers are the end-all be-all when it comes to getting over obstacles. So we're doing it. With these, we had our friends over at East Coast Gears put these together for us. We're using 48 nitro gears with an ARB spool, obviously front and rear. I chose the 48 gear set because we're running a 33-inch tire, and on the Tacoma, that's a really good pairing. They do have the 529s. Lots of folks go to 529s, and I've actually run those as well when I had 35s, and that worked great. But you know, the 529s are a really aggressive gear, and they have that distinctive whine because of the cut of the teeth is so aggressive. So I dialed it back a little bit with the 48s. This should give us excellent acceleration, and it will make it much easier on the trail because you won't have to give it as much gas as well to get over obstacles. So having said all that, let's get down to it. This is going to be a doozy. So easiest way to do this, we got to get this axle out. So we got to get this cap off, but we need to remove the steering arms, and then we have two 19mm bolts that hold the lower ball joint on. And that will, once we take this axle nut off, that'll allow us just to swing this whole deal out the way without having to disconnect anything else, and we'll be able to pop our axle out. As deep as you need, baby. Today's the day! Get you some! It's not enough. You don't want these to come off while you're driving down the road, kids. It will end up very badly. So when you put them back on, torque them and use Loctite. Torque them and use Loctite. Hey-oh. When you're taking your axle cap off, try not to be a freaking gorilla, because you can damage these relatively easy, and then they either won't go on or they won't stay on. So just work it around. Pop! Boy! I like to try to keep my cotter pins as straight as possible. Makes
sense to the difference.
Mm-hmm.
So your pin is straight?
Quite.
I think the caveat to that is, like, as long as he's learned from it.
True.
Which was a mistake. His name will not be named.
Thank you.
See what I did there?
Oh, I see. I saw it. I synced it.
Will you acknowledge? See?
We're good, baby.
Didn't seem like 150 foot-pounds of torque on that bitch, that's for sure.
Once again, we're going to leave this nut right on the edge there, so we're going to have to beat it into submission. All right, I like to make that nice and flat. I think we got it just then. There we go. Always a good idea to check out your drain plug. They are magnetic and they will collect all the little particles and stuff. So this, I mean, it's a 4-year-old truck, so over that 4 years, that's actually shavings. Honestly, not the worst. Nothing to be overly concerned about. Just clean it off. Go on with your life. I mean, we're changing it out, so it doesn't matter to us anyway. But you will see this, no matter what. But that's why it's for. That's why it's magnetic, because it's inevitable.
That's why it's.
One more piece of advice: when you're taking these axles out and in, there are seals inside of this. I think an inner outer seal, if I'm not mistaken. But you can mess those up, especially when you're trying to jam it back in there. So if you mess those seals up, after you're done putting everything back together and you've driven for some time, you'll notice that you've just got fluid leaking on your driveway. And then you'll have to take it all apart again, take your axle out, drain your fluid, replace the seal. So just bear that in mind. Be really careful with the seals. And sometimes it's not your fault. Sometimes they just can't take the installation back and forth. So I try my best to be kid-friendly with those.
Thank you.
Tastes like gear oil.
I don't know, Gerald. It's gonna leave that in your mouth for quite some time, I feel like.
Yeah, it's in my nostrils.
Fucking.
Yeah.
I'm hungry.
I swear to God, if you fucking... Oh, we got it!
I told you. Fuck this guy.
A little more persuasion. There we go.
So excited. Like, I thought it was coming out too.
Oh, yeah,
I'm
baby.
waiting for one of these things. All right. Oh, no, mostly.
Don't drip on me. Ow, fuck. Get a towel. Go get a towel. Oh, go get a towel, quick! It's getting on my belly button.
But he's the better electronic person in the world.
Oh. Okay.
Hoppy goose.
So you may be tempted, after looking at it, to remove this bolt here and attempt to take this whole bushing out with this thing. Do not do that. We're going to take this bolt out here. We're going to take this bolt out here, because that will give you something to rest it on while we remove the rest of these bolts, and when we're all said and done, we can dip it forward and out. Zero out of 10 recommendation on doing this in your driveway on jack stands, okay? It could be done, but you don't want to. You really don't want to. So you can see that the differential is already, these are rubber bushings, so the differential can absorb all that junk, but she ready to come out. Before you take this thing down.
This has technology.
Are you really trying to film right now too?
Yeah, absolutely. What the fuck are you?
Oh. No, I lost it. Go down here.
That's it. Are you gonna? What's it?
This is a lot different situation where I don't have to turn it on. They're all just holes. Holes in there.
I don't think I've worked here long enough to know that is the answer to that question.
We need to drain the oil in this
Yeah.
before we start taking this out. Otherwise, it'll be draining oil whether we like it or not.
Every hour, every day that goes by.
Yeah. I'll talk to Jeff. Maybe after this. Guten Tag.